Hey, what's up? Silas here. I'm going to be talking about the direction I want to take my channel and some of the core things that are kind of central to it. And one of those core things is I truly believe that nobody actually does things they consider wrong. There might be a small percentage of people like psychopaths and sociopaths, but I'll do a separate video on those two things because I think they get confused in the whole situation. Whereas, like, these are the people who actually lack empathy or so it's not a situation where they actually think something is wrong and then they do it. They either hear a head, like some voice in their head, and then they actually think that voice is telling them the truth, or they actually don't have a sense of right and wrong. So they just do things that are preferable rather than, okay, this I know is wrong. I know this is an evil thing to do. I know this is a bad thing to do, and I'm going to do it anyway. They just don't really care. They don't really have the awareness of that. But we all in this world have the awareness of things that are right, things that are wrong, things that are correct, things that are false. These are things that we know and we want to be correct. We want to be right. We want to be in touch with reality and facts. That is a fact that we all know, and I think it can be seen in some of these movements of people who really disagree with you. Look at the people who are like, they want to be accepted. They might be like, okay, we understand you're saying that is the normal way of doing things, and we are not going along with the normal. And normal, that's in the whole average sense, where it's like if 95% of the population all of a sudden started making chlorophyll and we turned green like Namex from Dragon Ball Z and our skin was green, then all of a sudden it would be normal to be green. So normal is mostly just like, okay, the average, most people do these things. So the people who are not in the average, and this is people like you see in the fat acceptance movement, I think the people in the fat acceptance movement realize being fat is not normal, right, healthy, but because they want to be, we have this innate need to be normal, to be healthy in that sense. They want to be accepted. They don't just want to be like, just treat us okay or just treat us the same, quote unquote. But no, now I think it is. It's a treat us the same. That's the part that shows that they want to be accepted. They don't necessarily just want to just be there, but they want you to accept the negative parts because I think it's negative to be massively overweight in that sense. You're not massively overweight, you're in different senses. And I've been having my own deal fighting that, trying to get back in shape. And that's kind of what I'm going to talk about in this as an example for this. One of the examples for this is working out. I've gotten back into the gym, going pretty well so far. I've been just taking in a lot of information online and things like that. I suggest you check out Athlean X on YouTube. Amazing channel. This guy Jeff gives all these tips and things. And there's so many things that I've learned from just the last couple of weeks, just taking in this material and seeing other kind of workout things and the different levels of workout things. Why are workout channels so popular on YouTube or just in general? Why is personal training, why is CrossFit, why are all these things kind of exploding? Because people understand being fit is good. Being in that sense, your body has a certain way that it works, and if your body is closer to that factual, right, correct, normal way of working, it's a better situation. You feel better. You want to. It's just it's just more right. I don't even understand how a better way to say it. It's just more right. So to get more right, people try different things to get that right sense. You have people who go into like steroids, and I think with the people who take steroids, I've seen some things on that end where I've been watching some people who are the bodybuilding. Someone named Rich Piana had a steroid addiction, body dysmorphic disorder. It's not necessarily just like the anorexia thing where people are is it anorexia? What's the one where they eat and then they make themselves throw up? Bulimia, I think that's what it is. That's one end of the spectrum where they constantly think they're overweight. And then you have people with body dysmorphic disorder on the bodybuilder side. They constantly think they're too small, so they keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and they take steroids and they're damaging their body. Just how the bulimic people are damaging their body. Just how the fat acceptance people in those situations, when you're getting that size, when I was getting that size, I knew it was wrong in a sense, but I couldn't understand why. I couldn't understand what exactly I was doing wrong. There was other issues that I wasn't dealing with that had to be dealt with because this was covering up those issues. It was more preferential for me to actually eat and be overweight then deal with the other issues that I'm still dealing with in that sense. So back to the whole workout thing. So finding out the workout things, why do people do different workouts? Why are people searching this? Because people want to be healthier. People want to find a way to better their physique and be in better shape. And I'm thinking about when I started working out, when I first started lifting weights, this was back in, I think it was 8th grade or 9th grade in high school. Got to my high school, the high school coach was, of course, it was a high school football team. We had a weight program and things like that, and we're doing different lifts. And I've always genetically been rather big. I take well to the weight room. I take well to lifts. But there was two lifts that I've been doing since I was back then that I was really good at, because most of the weight's in my legs. I have really big legs. So we hate doing the leg extension machine, which is you sit there and then your body's set and then you're just extending your legs out, and the leg curl machine where you're just sitting there and you kind of flip up and you're on your tummy and you're curling your feet up. And these two workouts turn out to be really bad for you. They're not positive workouts, but people have been doing them for so long. But I was doing them. Our coaches told us to do them. Other people have been telling us to do them. Personal trainers have been telling us to do them. Even the upright rows where you hold the bar and you hold it up this way. It turns out not to be bad because, first of all, that's not a natural motion. Then what you're doing to your hand, you're holding your wrist still with the barbell, and it's putting strain on the joints. It's putting strain, I think, on your rotator cuff or something on the back. It's just not a natural motion, and it's eventually going to harm you. Even if it doesn't harm you the first time you do it, you keep doing it, you keep doing it, you keep doing it, and it'll harm you. The same thing with the leg extension, the same thing with the leg curl, the same thing with the abductor and adductor machines, which is where you sit on them and you're kicking your legs out or pushing your legs in. And these are things that I have massive legs, so I could do really big weight on that, but those are just bad things. So I've just completely dropped them out. But in the past, when I was doing these things, when I was working out with those weights, I was not doing it because I thought they were wrong. I was doing it because I thought they were going to get me to achieve the results that I wanted, to be stronger, to be fitter, to be better at playing the sports, to have bigger muscles, or all these things. And with those things, there might be some purposes for the leg extension and the leg curl, like if you're rehabbing from an injury and things like that. There are very specific things where that might be useful, but something like the abductor, no, there's pretty much nothing to do that. Now, I go back to the gym and I see personal trainers actually out there telling people. There was one guy I actually saw, he was going from the front raise, barbell raise, into the leg curl machine. And I was wondering, should I go in there and tell that person, tell the trainer, like, hey, if you tell the trainer in front of their actual client, they could lose them a job and things like that. But how do you go out and you convince these people that, hey, you're doing something wrong? The information is there. And right now, in the times that we live in, with all this access to information, being wrong is kind of a personal issue at this point, because there's so much information where you can find things out. You can find out what's wrong. And as I don't know if I said this earlier, but my whole situation, my whole core thing with this channel, one of the core things of this channel is people, most of the problems in the world exist because of how people define X rather than what X actually is. Like, we all agree in a mathematical sense, a simple sense, that A plus B equals C. We can all sit there and be like, yes, we understand that. But then now if you go A plus B divided by X equals... Now when you get to that point, we all understand the actual math problem, the formula, or how it works. A plus B equals C. We understand that. Now, the problem comes because of people, how they'll define X. Let's say A plus B equals C was 2 plus 4 equals 6. Math problem. I'm really trying to do a really simple math problem there so we can do it. Now if you have 2 plus 4 divided by X equals, but somebody is defining X as 1, then they'll just say it's 6 because they'll think, okay, it's 4 divided by 1 is 4, so it's still there. But if somebody defines X as 2, they'll go in and they'll be like, okay, now it's 4. So you'll get to that point. It's not that me and the different person are doing a different math problem, or all of a sudden we're saying, no, addition isn't a thing that actually exists. Addition is now subtraction, or division is not a thing, or equals means something else, or C equals something else. We all agree in the actual processes that are going through into dealing with reality. We all agree that there's input out there in reality that we deal with and we take in, and then we put together in different ways and end to a result. But the problem is that X. There's going to be confusion in how we define X. And I think that's how most of the issues in the world exist. And that's kind of what I want to focus on more on my channel. Because I've met so many different people from different places and different locations with different ideas about the same kind of things. And mostly when I actually talk to them and we actually have time to try to define terms and understand where we're coming from, we normally find that, hey, okay, we kind of disagree on this and this. You can find what you disagree on, but it's not a situation where I'm like, this is just a horrible, evil person that's out there to harm me, to hurt me, and just wants bad things out there in the world. There's normally a problem somewhere in how they define things that makes us not necessarily agree on the actual situations. And now, how does this apply in a greater sense? I've been thinking about this, I've been talking about this more, I've been having more political conversations, because now when it comes to the politics, when it comes to the personal, of course, you just have that and people's in their home. I'm like, okay, like right now I'm wondering, should I go and correct this guy? I mean, he could hurt somebody, but I'm correcting myself. Is that enough? Like, I do feel like, okay, yes, maybe I can go there and correct them and do something. But if somebody is maybe just like the grammar Nazi thing, if somebody just writes something in a situation, in some note somewhere, in some comment section, I don't need to go there and be like, oh, you wrote Y-O-U-R instead of Y-O U apostrophe R-E. But if I was teaching somebody an English course, I'd want to do that because they would think like, okay, I'm going to go and do this further. Now, when it comes to a situation where I think it's important to actually have these conversations and discuss this, if you've actually checked out my channel for a while or if you're new here, I talk about politics a lot and I'll probably still be doing that, but I want to actually find a different way to do it because I want to do it in a sense where more people are actually going to be taking in my content and discussing it. And it's this meme I just saw where it was like, it's somebody in this, I might put it up on the screen, I might leave a link below, but it's somebody in the kind of a Trojan horse with these little men inside, and the men inside are philosophy and the Trojan horse is just like, harmless topic, and then there's a castle there. It's like my friends, and then the guy's kind of in where it's like, yes, you kind of sneak in philosophy and these harmless topics, and I'm probably going to be trying to do that, trying to get some philosophical ideas, to get what's it called, existentialism. Is it existentialism? That might be the wrong term, but actually just getting to actual defining things, understanding things, the first principles. I feel that's a very important thing. We can understand that and then actually apply that to our lives. And in the political sphere, I think it's very important because with the politics, your personal preferences actually go out, and they're actually things that are you going to vote for someone, you're going to advocate for things that are going to affect millions of people, not just the people alive today, but the knock-on effect for generations is insane, the things that go on in this. And I think you want to be right. There's also this whole thing where people are saying, oh, you'll be judged by, you'll be on the right side of history, we'll be on the right side of history. People want to be correct, people want to be right. And I'm going to talk about the last thing here is this person, socialist, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I don't know if it's called Ocasio-Cortez. I don't know if she says it with an accent, but she's this up-and-coming socialist, democratic socialist. This is another funny meme. Where it's like socialism, just somebody walking and hitting in the face in the rake, and then democratic socialism is somebody like doing this like Tony Hawk pro skater move on a rake and then lands at the bottom of the stairs and then gets the rake to the face. So I've had situations with her coming up, and I just had this, I think, Aloco, ALOCCO 2024. She's too young to actually run for president in 2020, but I think if we can get people behind her, I think there's going to be positives of this. She's gone on and she just keeps talking about things. And this is one thing, she is not an unintelligent person. She's not intentionally going out there and thinking capitalism is what capitalism is and being against capitalism. See, like that's my whole premise of people just get things wrong because of how they define X. She just defines capitalism as an entirely different thing than what it actually is. Now, socialism, she may actually have the general definition of socialism down, but how it's going to be done is where it falls apart for me. Some of these things, they sound good. No, even socialism doesn't even sound good to me because of the whole individualist, collectivist thing. I don't like that kind of thing. There was something I was talking about here with a friend where it was like, the decisions they make, where it's a situation with socialism, it's kind of like your decisions are my decisions and our decisions are yours. Where it's the kind of situation where anything you decide, they say, no, 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 it's all up to me what you decide. If you made that decision, I'll decide what you decided there. And then now when we make a decision, us as the group, that's what you're going to have to decide from then on. That's the system, and that's a horrible, horrible system in and of itself. But with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, I think she's, what was it, 28, and you have to be 34 to run for president. So in 2024, I hope she can make it. I don't think she's going to make it, but I think that if she doesn't make it till then, I think her effect will already be felt. And this is one thing I wrote with this post. It said, Aloco 2024. So let's hope regressives have picked the form of the destroyer. Just like in the Stay Puft Man in Ghostbusters, they may think that the look is appealing and mostly harmless, but in actuality, the more she talks and rallies people behind her, the more she'll surely be chained. The more these people will surely be chained to her when she sinks. She isn't shrewd enough to actually pretend socialism isn't horrifically murderous ideology that it is. So someone needs to clearly lay out these ideas. So why not her? So if she's actually willing to go out there and she's out there. She's the media's getting behind her, the establishment's getting behind her, the Democrats are starting to say, yes, she's our future. That's what's going to going to take us out there. You need clear-cut definition of what socialism is. It needs to be clearly cut that this is not what people want. Because you go out and you ask people, oh, what do you think is this current system? What are the problems in the current system? The things they'll point out that they're attributing to capitalism are actually things that come with socialism. When people say these things about socialism, she's going to go out and she's being put in situations where she's being asked, okay, so what do you think? Oh, unemployment is actually, what was it? She was talking about something with the unemployment numbers aren't actually accurate because part of the problem is the fact that people have two jobs, but that's not how unemployment is calculated. The whole two jobs thing actually did come up during former President Barack Obama's administration, because he was talking about all these jobs that are coming up. If you're just counting jobs created, then yes, if you have a situation where somebody loses one job, but then two jobs are made, two part-time jobs are made, and that person takes two part-time jobs, then it counts as one plus job, because their job that they originally lost, that was full-time, that was maybe working 40 hours a week supporting an entire family, that job will actually drop down. So that's negative one job. Now, if that person has to take on two part-time jobs that were created at lower levels, that has to work 60 hours a week and still not making enough, then the wife has to leave the home and actually go out and get one job, then technically that negative one full-time supporting job that they had is negative one, but the three jobs that those people had to actually join on, now that will be a situation where you can say, okay, now that's plus two jobs. Now, with that situation, with a wife coming out of just being a homemaker, now coming out in the workplace, then you can say that unemployment number dropped because she's actually gone in and actually she was not employed and now she's joined the force. So before she was being counted as an unemployment person, but it also counts, was she actually looking for a job and things like that. But just from the basic thing, with the unemployment thing, it's how many people who can work. Let's just say how many people can work. Let's not even bring in that want to work, but how many people can work that actually aren't working. That's the actual way it's counted. So now with her coming out, putting this information out there, because some of the people that are more shrewd, I think someone like a Bernie Sanders, he's been in office for a while, talking that crazy nonsense for that whole time. He knows what not to say and what to say. I think he did get empowered and emboldened during this last election because of just the groundswell and things. And I think he's also getting old and he's like, whatever. He's how many more years do I really have? But he is shrewd enough to actually kind of be more Weasley about this. And I've seen other socialists kind of be more like Weasley about what they say. But the exuberance that Miss Alexandria has here is good. She's putting these things out there and they're being exposed to be seeing how horrible and bad they actually are. And in this conversation I was having with a friend going back and forth, I was like, okay, what's actually going on with this? And she said, like, she's an intelligent person. She doesn't understand how very intelligent people don't grasp these things. And just like in the past, the coaches, there's personal trainers out there, there's workouts. For a long time, workouts included leg extensions, included leg curls, included pulling up the front raised on the barbell. It included the abductor and adductor machines. People put in tons of money to develop these machines and put them in places, and you find them in every gym. You don't find them in every gym because people in gyms are like, we want to hurt our clients, we want to injure people. They really put them in there because they thought there was a demand for this. They thought that's the way to do it. These were intelligence people that researched it. You look at the field of actual fitness and the different things that you can do. You got to understand, if you check your nutrition, if you check when you lift, if you check, like, if you make sure you work out in a certain way, working out to failure, heavier lifts, depending on what you want to do with your body, change your body composition, understand your physical self. You can even go further and do like a blood test and figure out what kind of nutrients your body breaks down in different ways and things like that. And there's all sorts of things, different diets coming in, all these things coming in because people want to improve themselves. She actually does want to help people. I think most people who are socialists, your average people, still do want to help people. I think there is going to be those exceptions to the rule out there. They might be out there, but I think they would prove the rule. But these people want to help people. They want to improve people's lives. They're just doing it in an entirely wrong way. And the same way that I have eventually gone in and I've learned how to work out in a better way, to check my nutrition in a better way, to understand that my weight was coming not necessarily just from, of course, it was just a simple like calories in. I was taking in a lot more calories than I was burning. But then you add depression with like the Evo Psych thing. If you're depressed in a certain way, your body's going to store fat in a certain way because it's developed in a sense where it's like, okay, in the past when you were depressed and stressed in that way, it normally meant there was war and then there wasn't that much access to nutrients. So you had to store the little nutrients that you have. And then you count the fact that we have so much more access to nutrients. Like you look at the thing and you just buy this small little package for like $1 and it's got like 500 calories and an average person is supposed to have like 2,000. You're like, oh, that's a lot. You can have like, so all these things going in there. This whole like 3 meals a day thing. That's not the thing. I've been doing 1 meal a day with ketogenic for like the last 2.5 months. But there's all these different things to try and different things to do because we're trying to improve ourselves. So someone like Miss Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, I think she is eventually going to find out. If she's not, it's just going to be her more and more spreading these ideas out and putting them in places where people like me and other people who are a lot better at this can point out at what she does, clown her for it, and be like, hey, is this really what you guys want? And then you can, the people who actually do want to go that, we can be like, okay, you guys go over there. You obviously don't want to be healthy. You obviously don't want to actually help society. We're going to put you guys over there and we're going to focus on the people who actually want the actual improvements, who actually want to learn about these things in different ways. So I was just thinking about if she has a situation like Candace Owens. I've done a previous video about Candace Owens with the Kanye West situation, and she was politically on the left. She had a website kind of, it was something where it was like somebody says something online, then you put them down. It's kind of like a doxing thing where it's you kind of like you track people down, and she realized that wasn't a good idea. And she came out to the right, and she was as a red pill black, and she was repeating and putting out messages that I've been hearing from other people, but with her package, she's a relatively attractive, younger black female. So she has a package and she has a presentation that's in a certain way that can get these ideas out in a better way. I just want the ideas out. However you can get these ideas out, the better. The more people talking about these things, the better. Even Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez talking about things on the opposite side so people can address them in a more clear way, the better, because she's actually going to go in and try to actually explain things out and show how bankrupt this whole idea of socialism is. So I was thinking, if she goes into something similar to what someone like Candace Owens did. Candace Owens had a small website. She had like a Kickstarter and things, some kind of support in that sense. But Miss Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has, first of all, beaten Crowley or something, who was she was actually in line to be, to be Speaker of the House after Nancy Pelosi, who is actually, so this is a really high person in the Democratic Party. She's gotten this groundswell of support. People have rallied behind her. Candace Owens she's also a black female, so she has some kind of defense to that. But this is also a Latina, so she also has some defense. She's a Latinx. She's a proud democratic socialist. I think she might even come out and just say she's a straight out communist. I wouldn't be surprised if she came out and said that. But you have this situation where people are actually rallying behind her. If she actually gets into a situation where she actually on that public stage, after being lionized in this sense, and she actually has a come to Jesus moment, where she just realizes how wrong she was because she's 28. She could really just not know. And then you look at her background. I think her parents might have been immigrants or something, but she did was in the Bronx, and then she moved from the Bronx to like Westchester. And even just that example shows how like people can come to this country and this whole like, oh, we have these white enclaves where we don't let brown people in. But it shows that upward mobility is still a thing in this country. They worked, I think, guess the parents worked and found a way to actually move and improve their lives and move to a better location. And she's come from that. So she could just have a mixed up idea on how things work. I wasn't always in this sense talking about politics, talking about economics in this sense. I didn't always know about the Austrian School of Economics. I didn't always know what capitalism actually was. I didn't always think that, hey, the government can just have all this money and just give all these things to people, but they're just evil, evil people. I didn't understand how the tax system worked. I didn't understand how to better work out. I didn't understand why my body was putting on storing fat in a certain way, doing certain things in certain ways. So these are things that she could just not understand. So imagine if she gets a come to Jesus moment and she just realizes that after all these people have supported that, and then she starts actually going out and talking about more free market things. She discovers the Austrian School of Economics. She discovers actual small government is actually the way to go. She discovers voluntarism. She discovers individualism. She actually gets all these things. Imagine the kind of information vector this can be. And I also had a separate video about that. That was like AIDS, acquiring information distribution systems, or acquired information distribution systems, where you get like information together. And this acronyms, the acronyms just work with AIDS and HIV. Then human intelligence vectors. Human intelligence vectors is more just like the whole vector things. So certain people are human intelligence vectors, where they get intelligence in a certain way, and then they have ways to actually disseminate it to people. Then acquired information distribution systems would be things like the internet, or just certain people, certain situations and organizations, like I'd call the Mises Institute, be it like an acquired information distribution center, because people come there and deposit information, and then it's distributed out to different ways, and then people who are human information vectors take that information and put it out there. So this kind of things are things that are going to change the world. I would like to be a part of that, because I think it's going to improve the world. I think it's going to make everybody more right. I think there's ways to get the right information out there. And I think that's it for this video. I thought it was going to be a lot shorter, but I don't think I said it was a short video at the start. But this idea has been with me for a while, and I'm going to start talking about these things more and getting more conversational, going more to that meme with the whole like sneaking ideas in, because I want to get this information out, and I've been running my channel for a while. I really enjoy doing this. One thing I'm asking you guys, please comment. The comments are, for me so far, are the things that are really boosting me the most on this. I like having the conversations, love. It's not love necessarily, because love is a word that I really keep for just love itself, but it's kind of a mix of love, L-U-V, and like, so it's kind of a mix between those things. Larv, I don't know. Anyway, so I'm going to finish up with that. That's something that I'm going to be trying to do in my channel a little more. Try to tweak my channel and do it in a better way. But comments, I think, help. Showing that interaction help the channel actually get spread out and have different things. But yeah, anyway. So that's it for now. Let me know what you guys think about this whole thing of people actually wanting to be correct. Do you know somebody in your life where you think they actually know what's wrong and they actually do it? And not in that sense where I'm going to act out like a kid will be throwing a tantrum trying to get attention, in that sense where it's like, I'm going to do this because I know this person actually doesn't like it. But in that sense, even in a tantrum sense, I think that kid's end result is not to do the wrong things, not to break the thing, but it's to get the attention of the person they want. So in that kind of sense, they're still doing what they actually think is correct, because the ends, not the ends justifying the means. That's not necessarily what I mean. I think in the kind of sense where somebody's like, I know this is the wrong way to do this, but I'm going to do this anyway. I know this is going to directly create more harm in the world, but I'm going to do this anyway. Ask yourself, have you done this in a sense? Have you seen other people do that? Do you know anyone that does that? If you can, please let me know in the comment section, because I'd like to know, because I don't think that's actually a common thing. And I'd like to understand what's going on behind that situation. And also let me know, should I tell those people in the gym? What would you do? if it was like a simple thing like that, should I tell them? Should next time I see somebody doing the leg extension machine, should I just like give them the video to like Athlete Next or some kind of YouTube thing, like, hey, check this out. Okay. And then they stop doing it. But anyway, like, share, and subscribe. There's going to be links below to the merchandise store, which I'm going to be trying to create more things, tie more of the videos in with that thing. I'm going to have a shirt up probably by next week with a whole definition thing where most of the problems in the world exist because of how people define X rather than what X is. And there's a whole bunch of other things on there as well. Some of those shirts are going to have videos that go along with it. Some of those shirts will just be things that I thought of, friends thought of, and things like that. But yeah, anyway, that's it for now. Till next video, goodbye. So today's end of video. This is Shell gas station in Westlands, which is a neighborhood in Nairobi, Kenya. And a few things of note: they pump your gas here. There's some attendants that pump your gas for you. You can also pay with mobile money, like your mobile provider. M-Pesa is one of Safaricom is mostly used. And they do gas by the liter, not the gallon. That's the difference between here and the United States of America.